Hi guys. It's very nice to be here, and very nice to, be able to present this topic, which is actually that we can design a future rather than it would be handed to us by someone. Like we heard earlier today, 90% is actually making that happen. And we do this together. I am from SAP, and we do business software, obviously, solutions. Big corporations with BDO as well, for small and mid-sized companies, if you only thought that our customers are super, super big. But my job is very global. It's strategic innovation for future of work, which is pretty important. And I try to put in a context why we do it and how we do it, rather than exactly what we do. Let's see, yeah. And it's all about our imagination. Because you can look at this and say, okay, it's a black canvas, white dots, because that's what it is, technically. Or you can look at it and say, wow, that's a lot of opportunities there. It's an adventure, time travel, alien civilizations maybe even. It is up to the human innovation and ingenuity to drive the future. And you can ask yourself, why is future so important? Why do we design futures? Why do we talk about it? I think it's very simple. It's very human. You and I, your family, your dog, your neighbor, everybody actually, will spend the rest of our lives in the future. We don't think about it every day. And I was thinking, if we get together like this and start to discuss, we can build the future we all want to live in. So let's understand how the future works. This is my job. This is what I do for SAP strategically. Each line here you see could be a major change, like a Gutenberg moment, right? So it could be, well, Gutenberg. It could be then when we went to the moon, and then we invented the internet, and then we had Facebook and all sorts of cute animals on Facebook, and all the important moments in our lives. And these moments are now coming closer and closer together. They are not separate, discrete moments. They are rather becoming a flow of change because they are exponentially faster each time. Actually, some people say that we have 10 Gutenberg moments each year, right? Every month, if you wish. It becomes a flow. It becomes a flow. And it's exponentially going forward. So here's the problem. The human brain doesn't compute exponential change. We think linearly. Anybody aware of Singularity University studies? Yeah, good. You've done this exercise before? No? Okay, but it's a good exercise to make you think. If you take 30 steps forward, you would be probably somewhere up there, 30 meters ahead, 1 meter at a time, okay? That's easy. What if you double your steps each time, which would be the reality of change? It's 1, 2, still the same. The third step is doubled, 4, 8, 16. What would be the 30th step? Who's the mathematician here? Who had a lot of coffee? It's really, really hard to know, and that's the nature of the future. It's very, very far away. It's actually so far away, so even the number doesn't compute in our brains. It's 25 times around the globe. And you have no idea how many people naturally say that the next step would be 26 times around the globe, right? Instead of 50, which is the nature of change. So change is exponential, and we don't compute it naturally in our brains, so we need to invest in understanding it. Change is also converging in very, very unexpected ways. I brought my toy with me. Who plays with Barbie? Good. It's okay, the rest of you. We are family here. I play with Barbie a lot because it represents something special. I will just show it to you, and you figure out.
I want to be a Oh, wait a minute. I want to be a scientist.
Eureka! A scientist. I think science is so amazing. Why do you want to be a scientist?
I always really liked chemistry and physics in school.
The study of physics is incredible. Take gravity. You can't see it, but the second you trip, it's right there to pull you down. Did you ever fall or trip on something?
Yeah, unfortunately, all the time.
It happens to me all the time. That's gravity, pulling you down, sometimes with an ouch.
I mean, come on. You can almost take her out for dinner, almost have a Trump, Miss World kind of quality conversation. Why? Because change is not only exponential, like the Moore's law that makes the computer power in this plastic doll the same computer power you used for your serious business only 10, 15 years ago. It's also other unknown before technologies coming together like Wi-Fi, cloud computing, natural language processing. This is convergence of exponentiality in one piece of equipment. And what happens next? How can we design a future that includes this? What if the kid is hungry and says, "Hi Barbie, I'm hungry." Barbie can Google. Barbie can order a hamburger, or the kid can. Hamburger can be delivered by Amazon with a drone in 10 minutes. Is that okay? What if the lunch is stolen by other kids because they are bullying this child? And Barbie records that with her eyes because that's cheap. The sensors cost nothing. Who does Barbie call? Mattel, who makes the doll? SAP? You? The parents? The police? Hi, is this the police? It's Barbie? It could happen, right? So see, unexpected and exponential changes gives us this, that, this young entrepreneur in a developing market has access to more information than US president 15 years ago. And probably understand it's much, much better than the current president as well. This is exponential change. And let me give you 3 examples how it comes together, how designing futures is a change, it's an ecosystem. These guys are building rockets because they are guys and very rich. But that's not the whole truth. Japan is developing extraterrestrial construction machines. One of our customers is making a new Audi Quattro for the moon, together with the X Prize Foundation. I met this guy that worked for NASA for 17 years. Then he quit because NASA is boring. He said, "I'm making this, Martin, my startup, Transastra. I will shoot it up in space. I will capture asteroids, like Bruce Willis in that movie. I will direct solar power into the stone and squeeze out rocket fuel." I said, "Seriously, Joel?" Joel Sarcel is his name. I said, "Yeah, why would you do that? Don't you understand, Martin? We need gas stations in space." "Really? Why?" "Because we will live there. We will work there. We will have vacation. We will go to 7-Eleven and buy stuff. We need to industrialize the space." He articulated a future. He saw a chain of designs coming together like NASA in this articulation. This is a picture to articulate the future, to help them design it, to help build relationships we will have there and move forward. Next example, our brains won't get better evolutionary the next 1,000 years. I'm sorry for that. But they will get better in a different way. Elon Musk is investing in Neuralink, a company that will connect the brain with an interface to technology. And here's a prototype. This lady is controlling a computer with her mind. If I told you this, not on a conference, you thought I would be crazy. This is happening right now. This is a prototype. Imagine 30 exponential steps later. And you understand that science fiction is becoming science fact. And the only thing between science fiction and science fact is science and very, very hard work. And we in this room are very good at both. So this is happening. Third example, very traditional hardware. Up there it's wood, but transparent, because Swedish science. Here is aluminum, otherwise not so transparent. Here it is made transparent. And that's glass, always transparent, but here is a solar cell. What does it mean for construction? Wait a second, what does it mean for business models? California was losing money because their solar power were more efficient than their business models on March the 11th this year. They didn't catch up with the business model innovation. This is another articulation of the future that looks like this. We just demonetized energy because you need to think exponentially forward. And this is what we do. This is what we're trying to do at SAP, this is what we do at work, because it's a danger to us, to everybody we know, all our partners, customers, this whole startup ecosystem that we drive to help us. We had forever, some time ago, to live. We don't anymore. We have 15 years left on average. And this is the mistake people are doing. You know the Kodak Moment. You know this guy and his invention. Fantastic. And it's not like Kodak said no, and it was end of story. They said no every time. It's too big. It's too expensive. The pictures are shit. And look exponentially later how that changed the world. The reason was very simple. They were thinking linearly. What happened before will happen again. And we know this business. We're doing everything right. But the truth is that if future is exponential, here's the difference in thinking. You always will look like you're on that line when you're promoting very crazy ideas. But you shouldn't. I have this printed out in my room to remind me why some people still make faster horses instead of changing the future. And it's a choice again. You choose which vehicle, which culture you drive into that future, who you want to be. You decide what is your design brief, who inspires you. And for me, that's change. So observe it and study it. And lastly, we have new tools. We have new tools to design the future. You could say that SAP is in the business of data. Yes, that too, for a very long time. We shuffle data around. Data is very, very important. We're getting more and more of it. Data is basically the content of our business, of your business. And content is king, but context is King Kong. That's the monkey you should observe. Because if you change it just a little bit, it shows you a totally different future. Sometimes very good, sometimes not so good. One person that knows this is Catherine Fake. She had a startup called Flickr. You know about it, yes? A lot of content, a lot of pictures, a lot of digital images. What's the context? It's the social love of people for images and sharing. She understood it and sold it, and then to Yahoo for 35 million. This is why she's so happy. And here's the next company she made, Hunch. She started to ask questions to collect new content. Do you know what a cat wants when it meows? Yeah, it wants love and food, and then it wants to go away, usually. How do you eat your yogurt? Fruit on top or in the bottom? Okay, on top. And then she continues with other questions, much deeper. If you adopted a child, would you tell them? Do you like your job? Do you sleep enough? All this content. And people couldn't stop answering. She generated 80 million answers for free. What would that survey cost you in your company? And all this content so diverse, what's the context? What's the sense-making out of all these answers? Well, I tell you, here's the result, because she hooked up with the mathematician. If you like Pepsi more than Coke, you believe in UFO. Data has spoken. Don't lie, guys. If you read Wired magazine, I do, you prefer redheads. If you use fake ID, you've been a mentor. Okay? You know, this presentation runs on a Mac. I don't use Android. And so on and so on. You know, how much is this worth for Coca-Cola? How much is this worth for Samsung or Sony or your local UFO magazine? This is the social context that comes out of content. Data doesn't lie. You just need to ask the right questions with algorithms. This is the new design about human relationships, because this is how it works. Data is designed to become information. Information becomes knowledge, and then maybe a source of wisdom. This is the future of design. And if you run a company, you probably have a lot of features that you love. You put them in a bag, you call them products. But you need to serve them. You need to build a relationship. I usually say that to students, so design relationships. That's your design task. Don't design products. Design relationships, the rest will follow. The rest is easy. It's about people and humans and solving very complex problems. And we're getting help today. The new design tool is machine learning. It's blockchain. It's IoT. All this data becoming something that we can build. I call it the Hue machine, right? We designed this future relationship with this new tool. Data is the paint and the algorithms are the paintbrush. Now we can augment human capabilities to show us more than we ever could, to automate all the mundane, the scalable efficiency, standardized outcomes, repeatable results. This is the third industrial revolution. This is what people do at work. For me, that sounds like a computer program. Complex problem solving involves humans and machines in a symbiosis between human creativity and machine intelligence. So here's our future job. We are fusionists. This is the new design, to take decision in the same direction about the future that we want to have. So we conduct and orchestrate all these things. And this is important not only because we will spend the rest of our lives in the future, everybody will. This is political activism of a sort. Innovation is political. Because if you design something, it affects people. It changes people's behavior. Behaviors change societies. Societies change politics. Design is political. So, let's wrap up. We need to understand the future. It's exponential, so beyond human understanding. I work for an innovation center at SAP just because we need to understand futures beyond our capabilities naturally. And they're converging in a very unexpected way, so we make the stories that we want to expect. Because we can. We are humans. We can imagine we are capable to do fantastic things. And when we want to design the futures, not only understand them, we do this by building these relationships. What is the relationship? What is the future of work? What is work? These are the questions we try to answer. And we need to articulate them, tell very clear stories so we can have conversation about them. That's a very human thing to do. Computers cannot do that yet. And we use algorithms because they help us to become creative. They support us in the work that we spend the whole human history. You know, hunting, gathering, making fire, doing, stuff that algorithms are also better at than we are. Maybe we can become human at last if we get the help we can from the machines. Just show you a final application, this one. It's called pen and paper. You know it because you seem to be the same age as me, many of you. This is a travel expense. For a business traveler, Mr. Aldrin, that went on a business trip 1969. I don't know if you've seen it before. And he used a company vehicle, so he had to state it. It was a spacecraft. He went to the moon. And he had to fill this in to get his $33 back. I think Buzz Aldrin is a brilliant human with a curiosity, with a boldness to go to space because humans, this is the ultimate innovation. We could help them better, and we are taking these giant leaps. We are articulating futures of work, futures of humanity, futures of relationships. We make movies about it to have a conversation what it means to us. And when we do it really, really well, I think actually we can build futures we all want to live in. So I urge you to go out there and disrupt something and do some fun shit. Thank you very much.